Moses went up on the mountain, and the cloud covered the mountain. Now the appearance of the glory of the Lord was like a devouring fire on top of the mountain in the sight of the people of Israel. And Moses entered the cloud.
Modern theorists speculate that this time on the mount was spent inside a UFO.
And when he came back down the mountain, his face shone or glowed. The implication is that there's some type of energy transfer going on between human reality and this extraterrestrial reality.
When Moses descended from Mount Sinai, in his hands were the 10 Commandments, the supreme guidelines for his people.
And afterward, all the people of Israel came near. And he gave them in commandment all that the Lord had spoken with him in Mount Sinai.
But if this enormous pillar in the sky was truly a UFO and gave the Israelites the moral framework for their society, what did the ancients make of it?
According to Moses, the individual that was inside the pillar of fire and the pillar of a cloud was Jehovah. Jehovah is the name of the national God of Israel.
Their God was a God of the sky, a God of the heavens, a God who made heavens and earth. I don't think it was hard for the Hebrew people to believe God is in the pillar, cloud, and fire. God is the one in the UFO there.
Some believe the influence of UFOs is not limited to the Jewish Bible, that it can be traced into the Christian faith as well. Thousands of years after the Exodus, the New Testament records the transfiguration of Jesus.
And he was transfigured before them. His garments became glistening, intensely white, as no fuller on earth could bleach them. And there appeared to them Elijah and Moses, and they were talking to Jesus.
It was surprising to see Moses and Elijah on the mountain with Jesus, because Moses had been dead for hundreds of years, and Elijah, although he never died on earth, was taken off into the sky in a chariot of fire and was never seen again until now.
Were Elijah's chariots of fire and the glowing cloud that met Moses on Mount Sinai one and the same? And did that same cloud or UFO transport Elijah and Moses to Jesus' transfiguration?
We have a pattern that's very much part of the biblical pattern. That is, some strange object shows up in the sky and a voice comes from it. You get this during the Exodus with a pillar cloud and a voice coming to Moses. You get it in the Transfiguration story. So whenever you then look at the biblical prophets who are saying strange things, the issue is the extraterrestrial reality informing their minds to say the things they're saying.
More than half a millennium before the birth of Christ, a group of Jewish exiles was held captive along the banks of the Chebar River. Among them, a righteous Israelite named Ezekiel. He became a prophet, predicting the fall of Jerusalem. Later, he also preached the message of hope and salvation. But first, Ezekiel was enraptured by something in the sky.
As I looked, behold, a stormy wind came out of the north, and a great cloud with brightness round it, and fire flashing forth continually. And in the midst of the fire, as it were gleaming bronze.
Ezekiel believed this event was an encounter with God. But UFO researchers wonder if it might have been something else. More than any other passage in the Bible, Ezekiel's detailed account of this sighting is continually studied and analyzed by ufologists, who argue that it is a biblical alien encounter.
I saw a wheel upon the earth. As for the appearance of the wheels and their construction, their appearance was like the gleaming of a chrysolite.
Ezekiel is describing a flying, spinning, glowing, metallic object that ascends and lands in front of him. In the modern age, what we see are flying, glowing, spinning metallic objects that ascend and descend just like the objects that are described in the Bible. It's not an illogical conclusion to assume that these craft that we see today may be the exact same craft that they're describing in the Bible in ancient times.
Their construction being, as it were, a wheel within a wheel. When they went into any of their four directions, without turning as they went.
You can tell he was struggling with the description. Now, that's also true of UFO experiences that people have. They're having difficulty describing what they're seeing, and it matches this description that we see in the Bible.
The four wheels had rims, and they had spokes, and their rims were full of eyes round about.
What I believe he's talking about is devices, mechanical devices. And in the time that he was discussing this, there was nothing mechanical. The wheel was about the most sophisticated device that they had.
When the wheels of Ezekiel hovered above him, he may have thought he was seeing a supernatural reality, but what if it was simply a high-tech reality? How do you tell the difference between the supernatural and the super-technological? The more highly technical a reality becomes, the more supernatural it seems.
And from the midst of it came the likeness of four living creatures. Wherever their spirit would go, they went. And the wheels rose along with them. For the spirit of the living creatures was in the wheels.
It describes an object that comes from the mountainside and actually disgorges some type of intelligent beings from its interior.
As for the likeness of their faces, each had the face of a man in front. The four had the face of a lion on the right side. The four had the face of an ox on the left side. And the four had the face of an eagle at the back.